institutions are concerned, I think the approach traditionally has been, you merge a failed bank with a larger bank. Now, while that definitely protects the depositor's interest, but it also tends to pull down the balance sheet of the larger bank to which the smaller bank or the failed bank is merged. In the case of Yes Bank, we tried for a market-based resolution. There were investors who were showing interest, and we thought that is the best way of going about it, that new investors come in, put money and take it forward. When that did not materialize, we then, without adversely impacting the balance sheet of any bank, any participating bank, we worked out this arrangement of public-private partnership, and we have had a lot of discussions during that period with you and your colleagues from the other banks, and a lot of consultations were held, and we came out with that mechanism. But going forward, I think we need legislative backing to have some kind of a resolution corporation which has to deal with resolution and revival of financial firms. The regulator can issue early warning signals, can flag the emerging risks. The regulator will continue to take necessary measures, will continue to sort of interact with with the management of the bank or NBFCs to identify the vulnerabilities, but there has to be a legally backed arrangement. But having said that, as I have tried to explain in my in my intervention today in my opening remarks, and I must mention that a copy of this whatever I spoke, a copy of my speech, the full text of which I did not read out, will be uploaded in the RBI website once this session is over. So those of you who are interested may have a look at it. But our primary focus is now to monitor it and identify the vulnerability from a very incipient stage, and then take corrective measures, impress upon the management, interact with the management, closely work with the management, ask them to take necessary corrective measures, whether some amount of governance changes or replacement of certain key personnel or mobilization of additional capital or additional liquidity. So our focus now is to identify the vulnerability from a very incipient stage and then engage with the management of a bank or management of a financial entity to ensure that the problem doesn't become larger. I think eventual solution lies in that. But having said that, I must say that a bigger responsibility lies with the banks and the financial entities themselves, and I am quite happy to note that many banks in particular have, both in the public and private sector, they have improved their internal risk management systems and procedures, and they are able to take preemptive action. So the bigger responsibility lies with the management of the banks, and that is banks or the financial institutions. That is why we are focusing so much on risk management. That is why we have brought out this document on governance in commercial banks.
Yeah, very true, sir. And from your address today also, one thing which is coming out very clearly is that through governance, superior risk management, compliance and capital buffer. So these are at least the four major pillars on which the banks and NBFCs can deal with the COVID-19 situation. Sir, one more question. There is an observation, and it's not a question, and the observation is that successive rate cuts do not appear to have spurred investment or growth, either pre-COVID or post-COVID. Nor has it had any visible impact on better asset quality. Asset quality improvement is more attributable to better assessment and monitoring resolution mechanism at work. So the question whoever has raised is, they have requested if you could just
no, the focus, as I said, is on asset quality, and here the bigger responsibility really lies on the banks themselves to, closely watch and identify, to measure the asset quality and take whatever steps. So for Reserve Bank is concerned, in our supervision, we are also monitoring that, and we have been advising the banks to, wherever necessary, to make additional provisions. And there's a lot of new technology. I didn't want to talk about it. It would be a bit premature, but we are now focusing a lot on off-site surveillance, that is off-site surveillance by way of internal analysis based on a lot of data, new data, new systems of collecting data and analyzing data. We are relying more on, the data analytics and other aspects. So we are building up that robust mechanism to identify the, to sort of identify what kind of asset quality the banks have. But the bigger responsibility, as I said, lies with the banks, and this is one area where we are constantly engaged with the banks to ensure that the asset quality and the vulnerabilities are identified proactively so that timely mitigation measures are undertaken. Now with regard to rate cut leading to investment, now the rate cut has several objectives. The rate cut, one, is to make money more accessible. But investment again depends on a complexity of factors. Investment again depends on the overall environment. If I can just quote one of my predecessors, he said, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. So essentially, to put it on a, on a serious note, I would like to say that, the observation made by my predecessor was definitely a serious remark. But what I am basically trying to say is that we are providing the enabling conditions for the economy to revive. We are ensuring that the rates are kept low. We are ensuring that the rates are kept low, keeping in mind the inflation trajectory, because maintaining the inflation is our primary objective. So as the inflation trajectory looks to go down, going forward it is expected that the inflation will moderate. That's what we said in the last monetary policy statement. So we want to keep the inflation rates aligned with the inflation trajectory. We want to ensure that there is adequate liquidity in the system. We want to ensure that the bond markets and the financial markets are not, the liquidity doesn't get frozen, and there is adequate liquidity in the system, and the financial markets are functional. So if there is a corporate which wants to raise resources in the market, they should be able to raise it. In fact, if you look at the activity in the bond market and the number of number of corporate bonds which have been raised in the last 2 or 3 months, there has been substantial increase. So therefore, investment will depend, it's dependent on a complexity of factors. At a time like this, naturally, corporates are deleveraging. The process of deleveraging is on. There is a slow revival of economic activity. Once economic activity revives, let us say, revives a little more, or perhaps revives even more than what it is at the moment, I am sure investments will take place. The corporates will assess the market opportunities, and they will definitely, they should come forward and invest. And our emphasis is to provide enabling ecosystem where making investment or ensuring vibrancy and functioning of the markets in a robust manner. That is our, that is our emphasis. And I remain quite optimistic on these matters. It's a question of time, and I remain optimistic.
Thank you, sir. One final question before we close this session. To boost demand, everyone is expecting that we can see more currency notes with your signatures. Are you going to oblige in near future?
I think the auction this year has increased significantly. World over, there is a, there is a rush for what they call a dash for cash. World over, in many countries, people are drawing more money from the banks and keeping it. The currency in circulation has increased in India substantially in the last 3-4 months, because there is a tendency on the people to keep more cash. But with regard to your other question, that's a bigger issue on which we can have another discussion on another some other date.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, and really it was a wonderful session, and all the participants who have registered in big number for this conclave. Every year that number is increasing, and we had to do it in very unusual circumstances, but we didn't want to miss it. And on a Saturday, you have been able to address all the participants. We are really thankful to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.